Next year promises to be a great year for tech toys. Here with a look at the coolest gadgets to expect in 2012 is Dan Ackerman, senior editor of CNET.com. Dan, good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
January begins tomorrow, of course. What's the coolest thing that's going to come out in January?
Well, I think the thing that we're going to see in January is a lot more phones and tablets with the ice cream sandwich update to that Android operating system. If an Android phone, you know, it's not quite as slick as your iPhone just yet, they're hoping to get them right up to that same level.
Okay, school me here. Ice cream sandwich.
I know, they always come up with goofy names like gingerbread or something food related for their updates. It's really like Android like 4.0. It's sort of like when you get the big iPhone update. This is the Android version of that.
Okay.
And hopefully it'll make those tablets especially a little bit more like the iPad.
Okay, let's talk about February. Any cool stuff coming out then?
There is something very cool coming out in February. That's the PlayStation Vita. It is the new handheld gaming system. We haven't seen one of these in a while from Sony, from PlayStation, and it plays a lot of games. It's got a lot of really interesting touch inputs and kind of ways to interact with it. It does like the internet and plays movies. The question is, in a world where everyone has an iPhone that does all that stuff anyway, is there still room for sort of a standalone handheld gaming console, or are we kind of past that point?
Does that replace the PSP?
It does replace the PSP, yes.
All right, and this, you can use this with your PlayStation 3 at home?
It does actually connect to the PlayStation on some games, but it's also a standalone thing with its own screen that you can play with.
Okay, March, a lot of folks are waiting for it because something really cool, I'm told, is coming out. Oh, look, it's the iPad 3.
Well, that's at least a good prediction, and I would put some safe money on that because the iPad 1 and the iPad 2 both came out in kind of that March-April time frame. Apple hasn't said anything yet, but I think it's a pretty safe bet to say they're kind of keeping to the same schedule on these.
Okay, what's the iPad 3 going to have that we know of, that we think we know of at this point, that the iPad 2 doesn't?
I think the safest bet is a higher resolution screen. You know, that'll let you watch more HD movies, fit more stuff on the screen. A lot of the other tablets have higher resolution screens now. Maybe a better camera. The camera in the iPad 2, not very good. One of the rumors I'm not so hot on is that they're going to have a smaller 7-inch size. I'm not really sure they're going to do that. They might just stick with that 9-inch size that they have now.
And they've thrown us a curve before. We thought the iPhone 5 was coming out, which wound up being with the iPhone 4S.
Exactly.
So who knows? Could be anything.
Yeah, with these guys, they really played very close to the vest. They don't give away a lot of secrets ahead of time.
Okay, let's talk about April. What can we expect then?
I think you're going to start seeing a lot of a new generation of really thin laptops called Ultrabooks. There are a few of them out now, but these are going to have the latest CPUs from Intel, and it's kind of like the MacBook Air that everybody loves, but it runs Windows, super thin, super light, and less expensive than the MacBook Air. I've seen some of these already, $700, $800. It's a great deal.
Interesting. Is that the future? The lighter, thinner
Oh, yeah.
laptops,
I mean, by the end of next year, if you're not a thin laptop, then you're not really in the game at all.
Okay, let's talk about this summer.
Hot
stuff.
I think that we might see something very surprising this summer from Apple. They say that one of Steve Jobs' last big projects was an Apple Hdtv, which is kind of a big screen TV that Apple would make that seems sort of out of character for them, but it's a really interesting idea because they've done so many interesting things with phones and tablets. You can only imagine what they do with a big television set.
What was the coolest gadget of 2011?
I think the coolest thing overall, the things that I use the most, definitely the iPad 2, which has really replaced my laptop. And become kind of my go-to pickup device. And a lot of people really like, these have been around for a while, but in 2011 they came out with a $50 version, the Roku box. Little box, you plug it into your TV, you stream Netflix, Amazon movies, all kinds of stuff. It's a great parent/grandparent device because you just plug it in and it works.
You cover this stuff for a living, but I know as somebody who just watches it and loves to play with it, it seems like this stuff comes out just like this. You bring it home, it's already out.
It's already obsolete, that's right. As soon as you get it home, you see the ad for the next model. It's getting faster every year.
Going to get even faster as we move on, you think?
I think they're going to come out with the next one before you even buy the current one.
Oh, my goodness. All right, Dan, thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
That iPad 3, a lot of people here are talking about that, with the Apple Store right next door.
Oh, that's right.
Getting in line already. All right. Dan Ackerman, thanks a lot. Happy New Year to you.
To you, too.